All right, welcome to episode 9 of the Small Talk podcast. We're focusing on Grand Rapids business and just generating more content for Grand Rapids Informed. Today we have Garrett Ritterhaus. He is with Dale Carnegie Training and Lifetech Academy. He is here to help people live a more intentional life. So Garrett, what is your number one tip for living a more intentional life?
Yeah, well, first off, thank you so much. It's an honor to be on the podcast here and focusing on living an intentional life. First off, you got to figure out what that means for you because each individual is different, right?
Yeah.
The focus of Dale Carnegie isn't just to teach you and say, hey, good luck with the life that you live. It's, all right, how can we challenge what we already know to be true as human beings and help us use that to help us live out that intentional life. So actually an intentional life it's really different from person to person. But the big thing is that you are making decisions that will help you out as you live your life and not just allowing things to happen to you and complaining about them. So really, I kind of like to view it a little bit more as having a little bit more reason to your life or purpose. And so helping people find their purpose, that's a job that I want, of course, man. Yeah. Sign me up.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of what I do as a team leader in real estate, just helping people kind of understand what their role is and helping people and being a mentor to them. So why did you actually join Dale Carnegie? Like, what brought you to them?
Man, Mike, I have been a people person for as long as I can remember. Actually, in high school, my mom used to joke with me that the best class that I had in school was actually the hallways because I was somebody that would constantly walk up to people and talk to them about their day, figure out their life purpose, and say goodbye and go to my next class. It's really been a part of my life growing up and kind of being so intentional with people that it pushed me into finding a company that I can really stand behind and love their mission and their purpose. So for me, it was more so of being a good person and focusing on being a good person. And what my dad always said was, if you're focused on being a good person, good things happen to good people. And so I heard
that a lot. Actually.
Right. It's such a like little thing that my dad taught me. And I'm telling you, it's just really profound when you think about it of you can't control a lot of things that happen in your life. Like, if your job lets you go or, you have a failed relationship. There's a lot of things that happen in our lives that we need to just focus on ourselves and change ourselves. So for me, how I found Dale Carnegie, long story short, I had a connection with a friend in the leadership program. It's Central Michigan.
Okay.
And she had overheard one of our trainers doing a training seminar in the chamber in Lansing and basically just said, you got to meet my friend Garrett because what you're talking about is exactly what he's looking for. So I went through an interview and found my purpose and what I really want to do for the rest of my life, which is crazy to say. 26 now. I've been doing it for 3 years. So since 23, I've found out what I want to do for the rest of my life, which is a really powerful thing.
That is huge. I don't think a lot of people know what they want to do at 26. For me, it took a lot longer than that. I think it was actually 33 before I was like, yep, that's what I want to do. And, I haven't looked back, but it's been a wild ride in real estate and growth and just learning from other people, right?
That's what you got to do. That's the focus, man.
So what does your day-to-day life look like? Like, what are you doing on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, I think one of the coolest things about Dale Carnegie is being a performance consultant. I build my own schedule. I've been working from home even before COVID, but the focus isn't on needing to make the most amount of money that I need to survive. It's really on how can I connect with people and meet as many people so that I give them an opportunity to take a Dale Carnegie course, to jump into Lifetech Academy and really start to make that intentional life their own. So for me, my day-to-day is setting up my schedule. I typically have coffee meetings. I love doing podcasts or, different opportunities where I can speak in front of a company or a group of people. And in the evenings is when we typically do our trainings with the Dale Carnegie course or any other of our courses that we have. So throughout the day, it's very relaxed where I get a chance to talk to people. And in the evenings, it's go, go, go. We got to train these people and give them the life they deserve.
Okay. So you actually said you've been doing it for 3 years, which, I mean, we're in an interesting time where we're just kind of coming out of COVID. What's changed over the last 3 years for you?
Yeah, man, I gotta give props to my CEO, Phil Zeller. He actually has his own podcast radio show as well. But when COVID hit, it was an interesting time for our organization for a lot of reasons, just like everybody had to deal with. We had to flip everything online. We did not stop because people don't stop needing help, right?
Sure.
So we flipped everything online, and out of that came a lot more skills to teach people or train people, coach people, however you want to word it, via online platforms. So Zoom, we like to use WebEx. We currently run a hybrid course where we have people in person as well as online that are able to take the same course at the same time. And what that does is no matter if you are traveling for work, if you're sick with COVID or anything else, you have things to take care of at home, you're still able to fit this into your schedule and make it work. And I think that was the best thing for us as a company coming out of COVID, was that we made training more accessible for the people that needed it. And that's just the biggest thing that I could take away from COVID is, we wanted to make sure that people didn't stop because people don't stop needing help. And why should we, do the same?
That's interesting you say that. Actually, going through COVID, I actually I have a real estate team, and we have other people that have been on the team, and we were kind of tied down. There was a time that we weren't able to show homes. We weren't able to go out and do our jobs, but we didn't give up on our people that we were working with. We just called and checked in on them, seeing what we could do to help, and kind of kept things moving forward. And out of that, we became stronger, right? Like we became more intentional at building relationships with the people we're working with. And Zoom has been a more prevalent product in our day-to-day business, right? All of our trainings are on Zoom, and we do all of our meetings on Zoom, but we still have people in the office, so we kind of have a hybrid thing going on. But it's interesting what you can take away from such a challenging time, right, and get better going through it.
I got a question for you, Mike. So when you think about how COVID has changed, you can even focus on the real estate industry. I know you talked about your team, but how has that changed real estate as a whole?
There's lots of changes that have came out of it. So we were just talking about overlapping showings, allowing multiple people through the house at the same time. We do video tours for a lot of people now, even people that are local or could actually go see the house. They prefer to have a video option, and a lot of my agents are doing that for their clients, so they don't have to take off a day of work or something. And we're getting better at doing that for people so they can really have a good feel of what the house is like. Every listing we do now, we do floor plans and we do 3D tours. And I think that became more of a normal thing, going through COVID. It's gotten better. It's better for the consumer too, I think. But
I actually found, I just heard this talking with another real estate friend of mine, that people are now using virtual reality to go through houses as it's been showing, and that blows my mind. Yeah. I love technology, I love virtual reality, and I love the opportunities that it can create, and it sounds like you're on the right track with that, Mike.
Yeah, we like technology here too. I think there's probably 4, I'm not going to say her name, but the Amazon lady that hides behind my couch. We have 4 or 5 of those in my office, and probably 12 of them at home.
Oh my gosh.
But just using technology, I mean, it's, for me, I'm excited about it. I mean, as you can see, we got all these LEDs and everything around here. So
it's a great setup.
Yeah, we like it. So, so who is your ideal client? Like, who are you looking to work with?
Yeah, for Dale Carnegie specifically, it is very fun because any person that I see is a potential quote-unquote client, because everybody needs to grow. We've had CEOs go through our foundational course, the flagship course, Dale Carnegie, and they have found things out of it. One of my favorite examples is actually we had a course with I think it was 16-year-old kid as well as an 82-year-old man.
Wow.
And the 82-year-old man the big focus for his entire course, the 12 weeks that he spent working on confidence, communication, leadership skills, people skills, and managing stress and worry, he came in with the vision of being able to tell his wife, his daughter, his grandkids that he loved them. And at the very end of our 12 weeks, we have a graduation where we encourage everybody to bring in the people that supported them through this experience, right? Yeah. It could be a manager, a supervisor, but for this man, it was his wife and his family. And he got up in front of the room and individually gave appreciation to his wife, to his kids, to his grandkids. And I'm telling you, there was not a dry eye in the room because of the powerful, the power in that moment, right? You look at what it takes for somebody that has lived for 82, 81 years to finally have the confidence to appreciate the people that appreciate him and that he loves. And that's really what Dale Carnegie does. So there's a lot of corporate words that get thrown around, confidence and all of these, really strong buzzwords. But when it comes down to it, it's teaching people to live the life that they want to live, that they aspire to live, whether that's through people that they look up to or things that they notice about themselves, that they just want to be more efficient or a little bit well-versed in these areas. So any person that's walking down the street, I could talk to them and get them in a course and it would change their life. Flat out would give them the skills and the tools to effectively live the life that they want to live. And that's what's so powerful about it is I can do anything as far as my sales, as far as my, performance consultant role. But as long as I'm talking to people, I know I'm doing my job. And that's what's a really powerful thing in my mind of how I want to live my life and how I want to live this job.
Well, that's really powerful that you said that. And just that, when I think of that type of coaching, I would think that's more of a professional thing. But it's really interesting that you say that you helped that guy. And that's a tough thing for me, honestly, is to have the confidence to speak in front of people and to have, even people that I know to share my feelings. So that's really good that you're able to help people kind of live that life.
Are you kidding me, man? Like I said, this has been my entire life. I have grown up this way from the way my parents raised me. And I found a job where I get paid to help people. Like, how awesome is that? Are you kidding me? Like, who doesn't want a job like that really gives you that immediate satisfaction of I did something to improve this person's life, or I was a stepstone in this person telling his, family that he loves them, and seeing that moment and knowing that you had a part to play in that is really kind of the thing that gets you going as far as a Dale Carnegie trainer or any person that works for a training industry company.
That's awesome that you found your passion so young in life. I got into this real estate business to help people and to not have employees and to kind of do my own thing. Yeah. And then I started building a team and actually found that it was more exciting for me to help the people that I'm working with than to actually sell real estate, right? Yeah. So to have people that I'm helping do what I do is more rewarding, and it's been a wild ride. So
absolutely, yeah.
So tell me about who is Dale Carnegie?
Yeah, well, Dale Carnegie is commonly known as the father of the self-help movement. He was somebody that we always like to say he had a high IQ and a low EQ. So he was super highly intelligent growing up, but since he lived on a farm and didn't really have much interaction, he didn't make friends too well. And I'll give you a quick kind of historical example of this. So he was very smart, right? He actually went to college early, graduated college by 20. But when he went to college, he was one of two commuters to his college. He got up in the morning, slopped the pigs for however many hours it took, and then walked 6 miles to class and sat down. Now, Mike, let me give you something real quick. If you sit down in class, you just got all showered, you're all ready, and you're going into class, getting ready to take some notes, and you have this kid who smells like pig, who walks 6 miles and then sits down and is a know-it-all in class and starts to answer everything as you're writing it down, are you going to want to be friends with him?
Probably not.
Probably not, right? So he went through life and he found all of these trials and tribulations to be centered around the one thing that everybody has the hardest time dealing with, and that is each and every one of us, people, right?
Yeah.
And so out of those frustrations came the Dale Carnegie course, where he started researching, and a lot of people like to look at Dale Carnegie as this major Zig Ziglar, these huge motivational speakers, and really what it came down to is the first person's always the researcher. The second person can, take it wherever they want, but the first person to document it was Dale Carnegie. And that's what the famous book of How to Win Friends and Influence People came out of, was documenting all of these things that everybody knows to be true, just no one took the time to write it down. So Dale Carnegie, we just had our 110th year convention. So we've been training people for a long time. In Southwest Michigan, we've been doing this for over 50 years. We're very local as well as global. We have, I believe, 90 different countries and 30 different languages that this Dale Carnegie course is being trained in. And when you think about that, what's really kind of cool is that no matter where you are in the world, no matter what language you speak, the culture that you grew up in, the things that are in the Dale Carnegie course, the thing that are in How to Win Friends and Influence People is transferable. Everybody needs appreciation. Everybody needs to remember people's names. All of these things that we teach are constant no matter where you are in the world. So if you have a company that's huge, right? Yeah. And, we work with Whirlpool, we work with Auto Owners is a really close example, but Auto Owners has people all over, right? And different parts of the U.S., and all of a sudden, now you have a constant of how your people are being trained, right? The same language that you're using in Michigan, same language you're using in Florida or California, and everybody's on the same page with documented, factual, practical evidence tools to work with people across all of human history. And that's what's so fun about this, Mike. I'm telling you, I found this at 23 years old. Are you kidding me? Like, this is what really it has the impact of doing. So Dale Carnegie himself was a researcher. Dale Carnegie was a high IQ, low EQ, very intelligent, not good with people. He flipped that to now being known for how he developed his ability to work with people. Now that is profound and that is powerful in my opinion.
Where did he grow up in the Midwest? He sounds like a Midwest guy.
No, he grew up a little bit more in the South, and he eventually moved over to New York to try to be a salesperson, because that's what everybody does.
New York.
He graduated college in order to be a teacher, and then realized that at that time and era, not many male teachers were being hired, / he didn't really find a good workplace. So what he did was he went into the one thing that everybody does. If they don't know what they're going to do with their life, they go into sales. And so
that's where we are.
And that's what happened, man. So he's not somebody that fell into this. He had to kind of build it from the ground up because there were no pathways before this. This was the first type of book out there that dealt with people. And that's the coolest thing about it.
Yeah. So what areas do you service? Can you help anybody all across the country?
All across the country, I have the ability to help people. My focus is Southwest Michigan. So our territory goes Lansing, north of Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, Benton Harbor. We really kind of section off the bottom left of Michigan, if you could put it that way. And like I said, we've been doing this for well over 50 years, so we're still chugging through COVID, through everything. We're not stopping, man. People need help, and that's what we do.
Yeah, that's amazing. So what is the Lifetech Academy?
So Lifetech Academy was something that was started by Thomas Ackerson and Angie Zeller. So they are, when you think about education and all the things that people are frustrated with recently, we'll throw out recent things that people are upset about, safety, content that their kids are learning, any sort of things that people are upset about. This isn't necessarily new, and education isn't new in any sense. It's been the same way for years and years and years. And what Lifetech does the focus that I always say a school should have, and what Lifetech has kind of adopted, is a school should remove barriers to education and create opportunities, and that's it. Once you step out of that, that's where you start to get where it frustrates families, right? So Lifetech Academy is an online charter school.
Okay.
We have 18 different curriculums. We are embedded. Obviously, Dale Carnegie is into the school as well, because we look at developing the entire person, the entire kid, so that when they graduate, they have an opportunity to not just be able to recall the information that they learned in fourth grade, but really have a fuller understanding, and once again, that intentional life at a young age. You mentioned that you had found what you really love to do at 33, right?
Yeah, I wish I would have learned a little earlier.
At 15 years old, imagine learning all that stuff and being confident and being able to really have that play out in your life. So what we do is we give kids all of the opportunities that they need, all of the tools they need to succeed, right? And we provide, one thing actually when I got brought on to Lifetech was creating what's called an early middle college. And are you familiar with early middle college at all?
Not at all.
Okay, so you're familiar with like dual enrollment though, right?
Yes.
So early middle college is just like dual enrollment with obviously a couple different, determining things to set it apart. But early middle college gives our kids the ability to earn an associate's degree for free by the time that they graduate high school. So our kids are not only being able to work from home, work from anywhere, we provide them a hotspot and a Chromebook, right? Removing those barriers to education. They can work anywhere. They can learn any type of thing that they need to. All the platforms that we have are like project-based or linear learning or different ways that kids learn, and we are able to give them all of these things as well as an associate's degree that cuts the cost of college for these families that need a realistic and affordable option in half. And that's what's so powerful about Lifetech is once I joined on, I realized that I've had frustrations with education in the past.
Same, yeah.
And all of a sudden, there's an organization, there's a school out there that is fixing everything. And it's almost not saying, hey, you know what, that's the old way, this is the new way. It's, that's the old way. What would you like to be the new way, new family coming in? How would you like to build your school? Would you like to have more of a structure and meet every week or every couple days? Would you like to have a little bit more flexibility so that you can do your work on time, on pace? And we have the ability using technology to actually make that happen. But Lifetech is the first one that I found that actually cares about these kids and develops them how they feel they want to be developed. And that's what I think that is so powerful about a school like this, is it's so different than anything that I have ever experienced before in my high school. I'm sure, Mike, in your high school as well.
This is blowing me away. I want to enroll right now.
It is amazing to me to think about what opportunities are out there if we just take the chance and invest some time into figuring out what there is out there. And that's what I encourage people to do. As you're listening to this, I know we have a lot of families out there that are struggling with education. We're a free school, so we have no cost. We're funded by the state, so our focus right now is just saying, hey, if you're having some issues in school or you're thinking about what else could be out there, check it out. Whether it's Lifetech or not, your focus needs to be on how you want your kids to live their life, even from a young age through school age. And this gives them an opportunity.
What grades does it start at?
K through 12.
Really?
Yeah. So K through 12, my focus in the early middle college was 9 through 12, 13th actually, because with the early middle college, you do have to add one extra year so that we can fit all the college classes in and everything like that.
Yeah.
At the same time, it is K through 12, and the focus is really on how can we service these families that need help. And that's really what it is. You see an opportunity and you're like, hey, these families are drowning. They are doing the same thing. The definition of insanity, as you probably know.
Doing it over and over, right?
Over and over and over again and expecting different results.
Right.
This is a different opportunity. This is something that if people take the time to sit down with me, I can explain to them how much different or how different it is and how much better it can be, because you as a family are the one building this. And that's what's really cool about it.
Now, is it all online or is there some social personal, in-person stuff that happens?
Oh, man, yeah. So the school itself is all online. We
Yep.
do have locations. So Lifetech is for Michigan families only. We do have places in Grand Rapids, Lansing, Northern Michigan that we have as kind of like a home base, I would say. Home base for families to go to, drop their kids off, join in, visit, and kind of talk through what they need done. They can get help from people immediately in person. They also have like field trips and, classic like clubs and things like that. And the focus is really just giving the kids opportunities, right?
Yeah.
And saying, hey, what do you like? And if we don't have a club or we don't have a field trip, how could we make that true? How could we create that? And if it's viable, if more people want to do that, oh my gosh, of course. That's how Lifetech has grown and developed over years, is by getting feedback from the community, getting feedback from the families, and feedback from all of these different areas, and asking yourself, is it possible? One of our truest values in Lifetech is possibilism. And that's just making sure that if something is able to be done, we're going to do it. And that's why we continue to break barriers down of what people understand as education, from years past.
Sure. What is your role at Life? Are you a teacher?
Yeah, so I've been in that early middle college atmosphere for a while. I ended up talking to them and saying, hey, I love what we're building here. We need somebody to go out and do some community outreach. So actually, right now is what I'm doing. I'm talking to people about Lifetech. I'm giving them an option. And so I would define kind of my role with Lifetech as somebody that is consistently talking about it in public spaces. So I've done the Grand Haven Coast Guard Festival and doing tabling events and things like that. But the main focus is just telling people that there is another option out there and that it is up to them to take initiative to find a way to talk with me or to talk with one of our representatives about what could be different about how they view education and what more can be done for their kids and their family.
That's really interesting. I have several friends that are homeschooling their kids or doing online, and I think that's another side product of COVID, right? Like they're like just the whole like online education became more of a reality when people were forced into it. They're like, oh, this is actually kind of fun. I can learn at home and at my own speed or around the people that I want to be around. And it's really interesting and powerful how passionate you are about that. That's really good to see.
I think it's just important to think about how we educate our youth. And everybody knows it. The youth are the future, right? Just in general. But what are we really doing to impact the lives of them so that they are living a life when they grow up that can create that cycle where they're investing down into youth and everything like that. So it's all a cycle, and it's our job now as people that are out of high school and out of college and really making a name for ourselves. How can we put that passion and what we have found to be successful and not successful in education and make it better for the next generation? That's all everybody's trying to do. And it's just my focus is in education in that field.
That's awesome. Now, where do you see the future of Lifetech? Is there going to be a Lifetech college or anything beyond high school?
I would love it. I would love it if Lifetech became the norm. I think that there is a lot of reasons why people still stick with the brick and mortar system of education. And they are, valid in what they choose. I just ask that people be informed when they make that decision and really understanding of where, the different opportunities are. As far as the future of Lifetech, right now we serve about 400 students.
Okay.
I would just say growing, 10 years from now, continually growing, building the team. We have over 30 people that are what we call mentors, which are basically the people that check in with your kid every week and ask, are they up on their math, on their social studies? It's basically the front line of defense for any student that is not looking to progress in a certain field, right? So growing our team staff-wise, growing our faculty, and then ultimately finding those what we call educational deserts where kids don't really have an opportunity to go to school. They may have to drive an hour or 45 minutes just to get to their college or school of choice. The future is up to Angie and Tom. My vision for it is just to keep growing. I look at this as a one-size-fits-all school. And of course, when you say one size fits all, the goal is to fit all. So I would say my favorite thing is if every single person goes to Lifetech, but realistically, I'm looking at just continuous improvement, getting more feedback from the families, and making it more refined as such.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. I think education, people learn differently, right? And it's really great that there's that kind of an option for people. So where did you grow up?
So I grew up Troy.
Okay.
So Southeast Michigan. I went to school, Auburn Hills, Avondale, and quickly found a home at Central Michigan University. Went through a leadership program where I found my friend that introduced me to Dale Carnegie. Right from there, I went to recruiting. And because my passion, once again, was I want to help people live the life that they want to live, and I'm going to find them jobs. And found that that was a very quick way to meet people, where I like to sit down, just like we're doing now, talk to them for 30 minutes, really invest the time, and have a long-term relationship rather than a short-term. So that switch to Dale Carnegie, like I said, happened about 3 years ago in the fall, and it has not been negative. I don't know how to say that better, but it's been a blessing to work with such a great company like Dale Carnegie.
Yeah, it really sounds like it. So why did you choose Central Michigan?
Oh, fire up chips. They had an amazing leadership program. I think they were like top 3 or top 5 when I went there, and it was a very, very hard scholarship to get, where I think they had 1,000 plus people, 2,000 plus people that are actually submitting applications to it, and I think they knocked it down to 30 or 40, and I was one of the 30 or 40, and I felt like it was home base for me because of the people that I was surrounded with. One thing that has been kind of on my mind recently is the value of community. And if you are a lone wolf trying to make an impact on the world, you are a drop in the ocean. But if you focus on the people around you and you create an environment where you're constantly pushing and growing yourself, the sky's the limit. Right? That you can turn anything into anything if you have the right support. So for me, Central Michigan became a home. I found friends in faculty. I found friends in just peers, and they have pushed me to becoming who I am today, of refining all of that passion and purpose-filled talk that I had back in high school and middle school and everything like that in the hallways, like my mom said. But I think it's just the focus of building a community and finding people that believe in the same thing that you do.
Yeah, we're better together, right? Iron sharpens iron, and there's so many good things that come out of working together and collaboration. So,
You know that as a team leader. I mean, like you said, you made that transition from, I really like real estate to, wow, I kind of like building a team. And I'm sure there's lessons that you've learned along the way that as you continue to grow and continue to have more team leaders, you're instilling in them. And that just maximizes the amount of return on investment, if you want to call it that, of your time to develop those skills in the first place, because you're constantly magnifying the impact that you have on the next person and the next person.
Yeah, leveraging your talents and getting more people on board with your vision and dreams, and bringing their vision and dreams along with that, and making a good collaboration. So that's really good.
I'm going to jump on that real quick because you talked about leveraging your skills. My CEO, Phil Zeller, had shared with me an article that came out post-COVID about what are people looking for in their job, right? You've heard of the Great Resignation, right? The quiet quitting that's happening, right? Quiet quitting, all of these different things. And employers are like dumbfounded. What is going on? This has worked in the past, and there's a shift that's happened between generations and after COVID, that there's 3 things that employers need to focus on when hiring and retaining their employees. One is that they are leveraging their skills, right? Think about if you're an employee and you are really good at tech and you get put as a public speaker. Right. You're not going to find fulfillment. You're not going to be excited to go to work every single day if your skills aren't leveraged, and vice versa. Somebody that is very good talking in front of a group, put them behind the camera or behind the technology, they might not feel like their skills are being utilized. So that's the first thing. The second one is just opportunity for growth. So the ability for a person to envision what is that next step, right? If they are an employee, is that employee going to be a manager, right? A lot of people are very content with the roles that they currently have. But the people that leave are constantly looking for what is better out there, the greener grass, right?
Of course.
And the last thing, bringing it back to purpose, is does the work I do impact the world, right? Or do I have a part to play in the community that I'm impacting, right? So as a manager, if you have those three things locked down with every individual, you're fine. If you sit down with them and you recognize that they don't feel purpose or they don't see an opportunity for growth, or maybe I could be leveraging their skills better, that is a key to say, I need to change how I approach developing this person, working with this person so that I can retain them. The big focus, once again, is growing, investing your time to develop your team like you're talking about. You've built this team and it's fun for you. So taking that time out of your day to leverage their skills and their aspirations and their purpose to further a goal of a company. That's truly what leadership can be, and what's changed after COVID and after all of these generations have grown up and gone out of the workforce and are coming into the workforce. It's really impactful. It's really cool. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I'm having a lot of conversations with other real estate agents and other business owners, and people want to feel appreciated and want to feel like that they're making an impact on other people and that they matter, right?
Absolutely.
So it's really powerful that you're mentioning that. It's all my thoughts, right?
Yeah, that's good. It means you're a good leader, Mike.
Yeah, well, it's definitely a learn in progress kind of thing, and just get better every day and learn from your mistakes and be open to criticism and input from other people to do a better job, right?
Constantly.
And for me, I like to have conversations with people individually and have them set their own goals and help them set or reach the goals that they set for themselves. So
absolutely,
that's really cool.
Absolutely.
So are you? Have you lived in Michigan your whole life?
Yep, Michigan my whole life. I just purchased a house, speaking of real estate, in Cutlerville. I probably shouldn't throw out my address or anything like that, but...
What's your social security number?
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. My mother's maiden name, right? But yeah, just purchased a house. I've lived in it for about a month, a year and like 3 months or so.
Okay.
Loving the area. I feel very confident with when I bought it, where the market's going right now, and the security of, I have a larger yard in a residential area, so I'll always have land, which I think is a very constant thing to be looking for in any economy, is just an opportunity or flexibility with real estate, where I could build something on that extra lot or anything like that.
Okay, so you have that kind of thing going on.
Yeah,
that was a big thing. When COVID first hit, I think there was a lot of people that were in a small space, and they needed to get out. They needed a little bit. You're on lockdown. Do you want to be locked down in a 1,000 square foot house, or do you want some property with a garden? And I kind of had the whole, when all of it started happening, I had the whole Walking Dead thing in my head,
nice.
where I'm gonna need to have a garden. I'm gonna need to fend for myself. So it's kind of funny, but I'm glad we didn't get to that.
But, you see a lot of people making bread nowadays, and it's
okay,
that only started. You're gonna be very self-sufficient there. That's good. Yeah, so I'm happy with Grand Rapids. Me and my longtime girlfriend are talking about the future in Grand Rapids, developing relationships. I'm actually part of a networking group that we started, Professionals of Grand Rapids. We have about 40 to 50 people at each event. We are out of Berkshire Hathaway, which I'm sure you're familiar with, and real estate in general. But we really just kind of focus on business connections. We found that a lot of networking opportunities, especially for people our age, early and mid, late 20s, it is more of a social hour. We are movers and shakers in business. So we want to have that opportunity to sit down with somebody that is intentional about the time that they spend with you, to make sure that we can have business connections. So Professionals at Grand Rapids, we have multiple different opportunities of networking. We have a gala, a soiree at Frederick Meyer Garden coming up in January. We're looking for 100, 150 people, but trying to really grow that. So that would be another thing to talk about as well.
I've not heard much about that.
Yeah, we just started. So it's been a couple of years, but the couple of years are kind of, dampened through COVID because no people are going to really be able to network or do anything other than on Zoom. But since we're out of COVID, or more so, more opened up through COVID, we found a lot of people that are searching for ways to connect with other people.
Yeah.
And we just fit in that timeline perfectly of we're starting to ramp up, as well as other people are starting to look for things to get them more connected. And that's why I would love to jump on this podcast, like we kind of reached out about, is just I like to talk to people. I like to sit down and meet the different people that are in this community that I'm going to be living in with all my life.
Yeah, that's really awesome. So I actually have a networking group also that I've been doing for about 5 years. And we met this morning, and we're building it back up. So we do a weekly breakfast meeting at Mr. Burger on Lake Michigan Drive. And 2 or 3, I got to quit saying COVID because we need to get past that. About 3 years ago, we had 15 to 20 people every week come for a breakfast, and it was always different people. And we really didn't have a real strong format. It was just get to know other people in your community that even if they do the same type of work that you do, we welcome them, right? And now this morning we had 6 people, and we're growing again. So
that's so good.
It's I'm excited for that. I'm excited to get back to it, and then also to use Grand Rapids Inform as a platform to get to know people like yourself. So
Solid. I really like the Grand Rapids Informed Facebook page, so thank you for utilizing that. I heard something, I know we didn't want to talk about COVID anymore, but when COVID hit, a lot of people were saying the earth is healing, and now that we're 2 years through it and everything like that, it feels like the people are healing now too, where the people are finding out the different opportunities and the way that business has changed, the way that individual personal lives have changed, and now people are getting more and more ready to get out and meet people and start making things happen. And that's exactly what we're doing here today.
Yeah, I love it. So if you could be remembered for one thing, what would that be?
Man, that's a good question. I love questions like that. For me, legacy has been something that I've been thinking about since I was 12 years old. I have changed my definition of what I want to be remembered as year after year. And I think that the very simplistic way of putting it is he was a good guy. Everything that I could talk about of I want to train and develop people and be the person that, people looked up to or, change their life, look to that change your life. It really just comes down to what my dad taught me when I was a young kid of good things happen to good people. So if I am done living my life and people look at me and say, oh, Garrett, that was a great guy. Yeah. That is the perfect legacy that I would want to live in my life. I would love to do things like podcasts, and I talked to you about a little rap career that I had. Starting off all these different things, poetry. I have all these different interests, but my main interest is people, and I've always had this fascination with people. So if I can be somebody that people look back to and think of as a positive influence in their life, aka a good guy, that is exactly what I want for my entire life.
That's super mature. I mean, growing up, I think I wanted to be president. I want to be remembered for being on the moon. I think, as we get older, we realize what's really important. And I, personally, I have a similar aspiration, right? I want to be remembered as being a good dad, good to my family, and an honest real estate agent, right? Yeah. So, and treat people like you want to be treated.
I got a funny quick story about what you wanted to be when you grow up. So when I was young, right, I really wanted to be a basketball player. And this all started with one of those online kind of quizzes things where you put in your mom's height, you put in your dad's height, and then it spits out how tall you're going to be when you're a kid. Yeah. Right. My mom is around 5'8". I'll give her 5'9". My dad is 6'7". So
oh boy,
when we put in the height, my dad skewed the numbers so much that it popped out and said, Garrett, at 7 years old or whatever, you're going to be 7'5" when you're older. Right. Now, okay, I'm thinking like, wow, that's great. I'm completely believing it because I'm a kid and this is the internet.
Like
I love it, right?
You're going to the
so
NBA.
I go to a basketball kind of gig, like a practice or game or whatever, scrimmage, and I walk up to the coaches all confident. I'm going to be 7'5" when I'm older, and how awesome is that? And they're like, okay, kid, great, yeah. Haha. And then my dad walks in, 6'7", towering over everybody, and they're like, wait a second, what was that kid's name again? That guy, actually, you might have something to him. So I've always kind of had that like understanding of I want to be something noticeable. I want to be in front, and I want to be somebody that trailblazes a path for people, but not so that I can be remembered as that trailblazer, but I can be remembered as that person that helps the other person to develop themselves to live the life that they want to live. So I want to be a stepping stone in people's lives, not the person that rah, here we go, change your life just like that. And I think that's something really important too, is just, there's a difference between being a leader and just being a manager.
So tell me about Grand Rapids. I obviously know.
Yeah.
But what would you say to somebody that is never heard of Grand Rapids? How would you describe it to somebody?
Grand Rapids is filled with the most beautiful people. And I use beautiful intentionally because I found that a lot of people in Grand Rapids are very intentional with how they interact with you. If you are part of the community in Grand Rapids and you are a friend of a friend that is needing a business advice or going to buy something locally, you are welcomed like none other. It's almost like you've known them for years and you just happen to know somebody that they know from the past. And so that almost internal community in Grand Rapids of, if you know somebody that I know, you're automatically a good person. I automatically trust you. That's not something that I found on the east side. Specifically looking at business.
Yeah.
The difference is in Detroit. We'll take the hardest example of, it is much more cutthroat in Detroit or in a big city like that. In Grand Rapids, it's much more of almost like family business, right? The first question, and I actually got trained on this when I came over, the first question everybody asks you is, what church do you go to? Right? Or, what church do you go to? Or, do you know downtown market? Have you been to all these different places, and it's a much easier conversation than, all right, tell me what you need business-wise. Let's get right down to the brass tacks. To it. And it's a much more friendly way of going about it. The Grand Rapids culture is amazing, and that's why I say it's beautiful, because I love the people that I've met out here, as well as there's a lot of businesses coming here.
Yeah,
right?
It's growing every day.
My favorite, and I tell everybody this, is House Rules. House Rules, if you like board games, if you like having a good time, let's just put it like that. They are a board game lounge, board game brewery right across from Downtown Market, where you go there and you can spend hours playing these games that they have on a wall. I'm a huge game person. I love the idea of gamification, of making things in your life a game to make them more enjoyable. Mm-hmm. So I always take people there. I love going to the warehouses that are like thrift stores. There's tons of great food that I've found around Wealthy Street and around surrounding areas. But it really comes down to people.
What's your go-to board game then?
Oh, baby. So my brother creates board games. He likes to think about the mechanics of a game, and I've grown up with basically like just trying them out and telling him what I liked and what I didn't like. I've gone to board game conventions in Toronto to play other games that people have built and kind of created. The one game that I think everybody should know and have, it should be a household game, is called The Mind. The Mind is a very simple game. There's cards numbered 1 through 100. The point of the game is everybody puts their cards in their hand down in ascending order. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right?
Sure.
In the first round, everybody gets 1 card. Second round, everybody gets 2, 3, 4, and so on. So you might hit at 71 and 32, right? Those are your 2 cards you're holding down.
Okay.
And I'm sitting here with 17 and 33, right? So the point of the game is now, without talking, we have to put this down. So we have to use our mind and our telepathic abilities or whatever to basically tell each other, hey, I'm really far away. Like, I got a really high card. Or, know what? Maybe I might be next. I might need to start to pay attention
or something.
It's so hard. And that's the fun part is every group, every game is different because everybody communicates differently. As somebody that, once again, loves people, teaches people how to communicate, it is so exciting to me when we finally figure out a way to communicate without talking and we win the game. And to be fair, I've only won the game one time. So it's not like you actually win, but as a group, you're all trying to put down your cards in ascending order. It is awesome. It is very fun. And that's coming from a guy that loves mechanics of board games as well.
I've never heard of that game. So
it's fun. You got to check it out. You got to check it out. It's fun. Yeah. Absolutely.
So board games. That's really cool. I didn't know there was a cafe. And do they have like coffee or beer or anything like that there?
They get a lot of stuff from Downtown Market. I know that you are able to, last time I went there, you're able to bring food in.
Okay.
So you can bring your own food. They got a great selection of Grand Rapids beers, seltzers, all that stuff. And really what you go for is just the community. I think that I mentioned gamification before. One thing that is a quote that I love is that people rarely succeed unless they're having fun. And in order to make this life fun and enjoyable, you have to have little almost checkpoints or goals in your life, right? A lot of people in business make these, I need to be this, tax bracket, I need to have this position, I need to have this house and this, and all these little kind of games that we naturally create for ourselves. There's ways to make life fun. And I think that's the point of life, is to focus on how to enjoy the time that we have been blessed with here.
It's a very short time in the grand scheme of things.
It's crazy, but it's all we know, and that's the best part,
Yeah. So what's one thing that you would want our listeners to take away from our podcast today?
The biggest thing out there is that there are tons of opportunities for you to live the life that you want, whether that's in education through Lifetech Academy or through just personal progress, personal growth, professional progress, professional growth through Dale Carnegie. There are ways to improve the situation that you're in. And a lot of times as human beings, we get so frustrated by the things that happen to us that we don't recognize the power that we have to change the outcome or change the result of what actually results in the things that are happening to us. So for me, I think the biggest thing that I would want people to understand is that there is an opportunity for you to live the life that you've always wanted if you listen to this podcast, if you reach out, if you talk to the people that mean a lot to you and get them connected with myself, my team. We have an opportunity to change the world, but it's up to you to make that first initiation or take the first initiative to connect with us.
How can somebody get connected?
Yeah, that's a very good segue, great follow-up question there. Yeah, my name is Garrett Ritterhaus, GarrettRitterhaus. My email is garrett.ritterhaus@dalecarnegie.com or gritterhaus@lifetechacademy.org, as well as my number is 616-856-2956.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for sharing your story and letting us know a little bit more about the Dale Carnegie training and the Lifetech Academy. It's really interesting and really good to get to know you. And thanks for sharing your story again. And appreciate the time you spent with me today.
Absolutely, Mike. It's an honor again to be on this podcast, and you're a great guy. I'm down to do this anytime you have.
I like it. So interested in learning more about you, and I'm sure other people are. For everyone else, please make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I hope you've done that yourself, Garrett. And
absolutely.
Thanks for tuning in.
Absolutely. Always. Thank you, Mike. Pleasure.
Thank you.